What is going on, fam? Welcome back to the channel. In this box is a really interesting pair of football boots that I actually really like the fit of, at least the original version. These are the brand new, or not so brand new, Umbro Speciali Pro 24 GL in FG, GL standing for goat leather. So an interesting take on the iconic boot worn by Michael Owen. Let's hop into it. You get a basic Umbro box, which is just their cardboard with all the Umbro logos here. Umbro is really leaning into more of that kind of retro vibe recently, especially with some of their clothing and some of the other things that they've been releasing with shoes and boots and all that stuff. So you've got the Umbro logoing here, little size chart on the back. Obviously that's upside down, but they're a little too small to even read anyway. You've got the Umbro logo here. And then, of course, here is the sizing chart. So I'll open it up just a little bit so you can see. Umbro Speciali Pro 24 FG. They retail for $250. To little disclaimer, I got these from a friend of mine, so these were completely free. Obviously, no one gets to preview this video before it comes out, and of course, Umbro doesn't get to see it as well. So these are 100% as objective as possible from a review standpoint. These are a UK 8, USA 9, Euro 42.5, Japan 27. Now, this is the same size as the original Speciali review that I did, oh God, it would have been 2 years ago now, in the classic black and white colorway. Those still exist, you can still buy them. This colorway is just the reverse of that with, of course, some different materials. So let's get into the unboxing. Oh yes. Love this. Look at those. So I am a massive fan of white boots. I think they look so good, especially in these more classic colorways. The new Copa Mundial, which kind of falls under this same classic football boot kind of category, if you will. They just released, not too long ago, the reverse, or the reverse panda, or however you want to call it. So the white with the black stripes, and I just think they look so good. And it's just something a little bit different from the normal Speciali, which obviously is an all black boot with the white logoing and the white embroidered leather, or white embroidered lettering here, not leather. Here we go. We'll get the other one out of the box as well, and we'll set that to the side and talk a little bit about the tech specs, although I gotta say there's not that many, just because it is quite a simple football boot from kind of in most aspects. It's just fully leather with the sole plate. So this is an homage to the 1998 Speciali worn by Michael Owen, as I said before, who is an absolute legend of the game. He was sort of a wonder kid as well, for those of you who were born after the year 2000 and have no idea what you're talking about in terms of football boots. No, I'm just kidding. So this entire upper is actually what they call performance goat leather. So it feels pretty similar to the leather on the black model. It just feels a little bit stiffer maybe. My guess is that they're going to soften up really nicely after a little bit of wear time as well. You do have this iconic fold over tongue, which is awesome. I suppose you could cut it if you want to, but with a boot like this, how could you? They just look so cool and so iconic as well. You have the full TPU outsole with the wishbone technology, which they call memory flex. So this is basically just something to keep this midfoot very, very stiff. And then you have a little bit of structure that gives the toe a little bit more flex there as well. So that's good. From a sole plate perspective, look, you can go watch the review of the original version of this, the non-goat leather, I believe they are K leather version of this. And the sole plate is fine. It's a very, I think my main comment in that video was basically like, this is the ultimate coaching shoe. If you're not gonna buy, a Mizuno made in Japan Morelia 2, if you're not gonna buy an Adler boot, if you're not gonna do, something else, this is quite heavy. They're very, very comfortable. But from a performance perspective, this is just not what most people are looking for, which is okay, because I think the fact that they still make these is awesome, right? These compete with the other two boots that I mentioned, the Adler and the Mizuno, and then of course the something like a Diodora Brazil with sort of the newer one. They compete with the Copa Mundial, of course, and a couple other of the more classic leather football boots on the market. These, of course, having the slight variation that they are goat leather and not a cowskin or a kangaroo leather. But just the look of them alone is pretty classic. And if you are somebody who appreciates the old heritage of the Umbro brand, and you are a coach and you are not really fussed about necessarily the raw performance of a football boot, these definitely could be for you. That's not to say that a player couldn't wear these and couldn't rock the OGs, but in my experience, it works a little bit better from a performance standpoint to get something that's really, really heavily performance oriented. They do all have conical studs, so these are quite similar to the Morelia 2 from the standpoint of how kind of wide they are. These aren't as suitable for AG as an actual AG sole plate, but I do think these are better than most quote-unquote FG. Even though this is like an FG boot, these are going to be totally fine because they're like a rubber. They have a little bit of softness to them, so they're not going to be super, super crazy, if at all, as well. And then you do have a little bit of enhanced grip and water-resistant tech on the upper, so it's just the coating that they put over the goat leather, which is an interesting touch. I can't really feel it. Maybe that is a little bit of that stiffness that I'm feeling in the leather compared to, you know, the tongue, or even compared to something in the heel area here. But overall, it's a very robust pair of football boots. This is a pair of football boots that if you wanted to buy these and you wanted a boot to last pretty much forever, this is one of those boots, I think, on that list of stuff that's just going to last a really, really long time. So from my standpoint, I love the way these look. I think they're super classic looking. They're awesome. Am I going to wear these in a training session and a game? I'll probably do a play test and a 1-month review in these, so I'll really test them out and really kind of see what they're all about from a performance standpoint. But don't expect these anywhere near a game or even a team session, just because I prefer something a little bit different. But I will be wearing these just to kind of knock around in as well, because I think they look really cool. And I think they do deserve a place on the wall, because Umbro is one of those heritage brands that is fighting for a place in the craziness of the competition nowadays. And I do think they've created something really cool here. It's a little bit different than kind of the normal classic football boot, with a really, really cool color. So without further ado, guys, let's hop into the on-feet portion of the video. We'll talk about sizing, we'll talk about fit, feel, what these are like to actually, I guess, juggle with, at least in this video, and then we'll hop into a play test in a couple weeks' time and see what these are like to really get after it with. All right, fam, out here in the backyard with the Umbro Speciali in goat leather, which I'm actually quite excited for. They look so cool. They just look classic and awesome. Let's get these on feet. Okay, so they look fantastic out in the sun. I don't know what it is about an all-white leather football boot that just looks epic. And, of course, with the fold-over tongue. All right, here we go. Yeah, nice. So very, very, very classic feeling straight out of the box. No BS. It's all leather, so you're not going to have any sort of like weird areas of the boot that like don't fit you that well, because it's just going to wrap seamlessly, basically, around your football boot, or around you. The football boot's going to wrap around your foot, not the other way around. What I do wish they had done was add a extra lace loop. I think that would have been nice and helpful, because this is a little bit farther forward than I'd like it to be. I'd probably put another one there just to add a little bit of extra pizzazz to that. But needless to say, they do fit very, very well. They're super comfortable and kind of no BS. The one thing that definitely affects the playing and the experience of being in here, though, is the heel area, unfortunately. The heel area is comfortable. The shape of it is just fine, but because there's no suede and there's no runner's knot, and so you're not really locked back into the heel area, it does slip quite a bit because of this kind of synthetic-y fake leather that's on the back of that heel area. So regardless of whether you have grip socks or not, it makes it a little bit annoying, I think, just to kind of exist and play in, which, to be fair, just means that for the play test, I honestly might just poke 2 holes in the upper to make a runner's knot myself if I'm going to do a play test in these, simply because it's going to be a bummer for my heel area. So as you can see, I can like see, okay, so see that line in my sock, right? So that's what it looks like. And then I can like pull my heel almost all the way out with the laces tied, which obviously, as you're making really aggressive movements, is definitely not ideal, because that means that, you know, the rest of the boot is going to feel kind of sloppy. So Outside of that, though, they do fit really comfortably. As I said before, an all-leather football boot tends to be, so long as you get the sizing right, really, really fantastic as far as just the comfort and just your ability to kind of walk around and feeling nice in here. Now, from the standpoint of the sole plate does feel pretty good. I would say that it's definitely more, I don't know, it's less aggressive feeling than some of the other boots in this category, made in Japan, Mizuno Morelia 2, Adler Yatagarasu, or Horenzo, either, kind of pick your poison there. Any other classic football boots like the Copa Mundial and stuff, these do feel pretty on par with those. I would say some of them feel a little bit more grounded. The made in Japan stuff, including like the Mizuno and the Adler, do feel a little bit more grounded there and a little bit more premium feeling on the bottom, particularly the Adler, because they do have the addition of that Carvo insert, which helps with that snappiness and kind of the bounciness you feel. But needless to say, this is what they look like on feet. And as I said before, as a coaching boot, this is hard to beat because they're comfy, they're goat leather, and they are very, very, very just like comfy to wear. So I could sit in these all day and be super comfortable. Now, the heel area is bugging me a little bit just because every time I go onto my toes or heels, I'm getting slippage even doing that. That's pretty disappointing, to be honest, because with a boot like this that's been out for so long, it's like, okay, dude, just do a little bit of extra shifting to the heel area. The unfortunate part is that most of the Umbro boots that I have tried have quite, I don't want to say crappy, like really bad, but they're really bad. Most of the heel areas in their boots are what destroys the boots. The Toco 4 Pro, for example, is actually super comfortable. The leather is really nice. The shape is great. It's very neutral. The sole plate could use maybe a little bit of work, but like whatever, it's fine. But the heel is what absolutely destroys that football boot. And I think that's what this is. Like if you just went a little bit more modern or even put suede on the back instead of this like kind of synthetic slippery stuff, it just, it would save the boot so much. Touch on the ball with the Ultimax Pro from Mitre, who I am partnered with, by the way. So if you guys want, they hooked us up with 10% off. So if you guys want a brand new match football, this happens to be the special A-League edition, which is, in my opinion, one of my favorites. They have like a gold and black one too, which looks really good. But I love this football. It's a company that I actually reached out to work together. So they are hooking us up with 10% off. Use code NOAH10 down in the description box below for a really, really nice football, and they ship all over the world, so that's super cool as well. Touch on the ball is kind of what you'd expect from a boot like this. Very plush, very padded, no BS. Definitely one of those boots that, for me, is just like a kind of mess around boot if I can sort out the heel situation. My guess is thinking about it realistically, I probably won't do a play test in these just because they're just not like, I don't know. I have a lot. We'll see how we go. I haven't made up my mind completely, but I do enjoy juggling in them because I haven't stopped. But the touch is really good. The goat leather feels similar enough, I think, to the standard edition. And so for me, it's like, if you like the idea of the goat leather, something a little bit different, maybe it's a little bit more robust as well. Feels really good. And to be fair, the touch doesn't feel all that dissimilar to the black and white model as opposed to this being the white and black model. I do love the tongue, the way this looks. It's super, super cool. I really do wish, though, that they would make like a modern twist to this, or similar to the Mizuno Morelia 2, could you make this boot but shave a little bit of weight, still make it goat leather, still do all that stuff, make it just as padded as it is and just as comfortable, but could you reduce the weight a little bit? Could you make the sole plate a little bit less bulky? Could you do like a complete redo of the heel area? And then I think this would actually make it towards the top of that list, because I do think, it's got a nice ping to it, it's got nice feel, and it's definitely a boot that I think if you want something just like super iconic, old school, and comfortable, this is the one you go for. So very, very cool. These will be probably staying in the collection just because I like them and I love the look, especially with that little blue accent on the back. I think that's a nice little touch. And yeah, so that's going to wrap up today's video of the Umbro Speciali Pro 24 GL, goat leather. Nice boots, definitely comfortable. But again, some stuff that I would probably change and fix about this one, given that it's been out for so long. I think they could do some minor tweaks to it that would make these really, really competitive in the classic football boot space. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. Again, if you did want 10% off any sort of footballs that you are thinking of purchasing, whether it's a whole package of them, or you want one top end or one middle end, one of the reasons that I really, really like the miter footballs is they actually have amazing quality footballs at a bunch of different price points. So you can buy the top end ones, like this one, the Ultimax Pro, or you can go down their range and they're still really, really good. So that's why I wanted to partner with them, and they hooked us up 10% off in the discount code below, NOAH10. Hope you guys enjoyed that video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. As always, be awesome, take care. I'll see you guys in the next video.